WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Joy Barnes has the night off. We begin with an update from a major law enforcement operation in Monroe County. More than 70 people were arrested and charged as a result of the raid. Charges range from misdemeanors to felonies, including drug possession, possession with intent to sell, and felon in possession of a weapon. Officers served search warrants and set up roadblocks throughout Monroe County. The sting involved 6 different agencies at city, county, and state levels. Well, operations like Thursday's sting take the teamwork of multiple agencies and dozens of law enforcement officers. WCBI's Jory Talley is in the studio to tell us more about a pair of Monroe County deputies who were particularly busy yesterday. Jory?
Andrea, K-9 Deputy Gunner and his handler, Master Sergeant Andy Lockhart, have been partners for almost 3 years, and last night's bust was one of the many they've helped work.
A $15,000 donation from a citizen made it possible for K-9 Deputy Gunner to join the Monroe County Sheriff's Department.
He actually come from Budapest, Hungary. He was imported to us. Took him 3 days to fly to us with passports. He's got tattoos in his ears for identification. We picked him up at the Memphis airport, and he's been with me. He was a year old, and he's been with me ever since.
He loves you so much.
Gunner is a dual-purpose dog. He specializes in all major narcotics, will track and bite and hold on command. Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says the 4-leg agent brings a whole new dimension to the department.
If it's there, this dog's going to find it. And you would not believe how many drug busts we've made with this dog. I'd hate to think that we'd have to do without one now, because we see the facts and figures that comes from this dog and what it's brought to our department.
Cantrell says Gunner pays for himself. All of the seized items he finds helps pay for his vet bills and food.
We keep up with stats and all our numbers. Just last year, his first year of service, $194,800 in property, drugs, and money seized.
The sheriff believes the furry deputy has brought in at least $250,000 so far in his second year. This week alone, 6 cars have been seized because of Gunner, along with drugs ranging from crack cocaine to meth.
Everyone has the right to refuse consent to search. That's where this tool, the K-9, comes in. Once they say, no, you cannot search my car or whatever, the K-9 comes in. The K-9, I run the K-9 around the car, he hits by scratching.
There it is. There it is.
Gunner's commands are given in German by his handler, which is one thing they learned in their 5-week training course. Training lasted 12 to 14 hours a day, and although they don't spend as long training these days, they still put in a minimum of 20 hours a week.
The dog's nose can break an odor down. We call it a stew theory, okay? If we walk in a room and we just smell a pot of stew cooking, if he walks in the room, he's going to smell the beans, carrots, peas, everything is broke down. He even will break meth down to the battery acid.
The Sheriff's Department has another K-9 deputy who also lives with Gunner and handler Lockhart. Deputy Gunner has been so effective that Amory police are working on recruiting their own K-9. It's a long, expensive process, but a citizen has already donated $5,000 to help the department with the purchase. The department must also make sure its liability insurance will cover the addition. Then comes picking a K-9 provider, breed, and handler. When they get the patrol dog, the process is still not finished.
There's a handling process, then there's where they actually get some training with the dog. They come back, there's a bonding process with the officer and the dog, where they're actually not working patrol at that time, but it's more of a bonding training between the handler and the dog.
This will be the 4th K-9 officer for the department. Residents can donate funds to the Amory Police Department Special Revenue Narcotic Fund. Andrea?
All right, Jory Talley in our studio with that story. It has been 9 years since 4-month-old Kylie Clark died from abusive head trauma. Today, Senior Circuit Court Judge Thomas Gardner III sentenced her father, Joshua Eric Clark, to the maximum term in prison. An Itawamba County jury convicted Clark of second-degree murder in August. Clark pled guilty to capital murder back in 2010. That plea, though, was vacated after a motion from Clark for post-conviction relief. The cause of death was originally listed as shaken baby syndrome. District Attorney John Weddle says experts now agree the more appropriate term is abusive head trauma. Clark will serve 40 years in prison. An Iuka attorney is facing charges today after allegedly setting fire to her home and car. Tacey Clark faces 1 count of arson of a dwelling, arson of a building, and in an unrelated case, DUI maiming. In April of 2015, a fire broke out at Clark's office building and at her home in the Mill Creek area of Tishomingo County. During the time of the arson investigations, Clark was rather involved in a car accident. Investigators say in that Clark caused severe injuries to the driver of a motorcycle. A special grand jury indicted Clark yesterday. She's out of jail on a $20,000 bond. She will be arraigned on March the 9th. A jury finds Keena Montgomery guilty of robbing 2 Columbus hotels. That verdict came back just after noon today. Montgomery is sentenced to 25 years with 5 years suspended, 20 to serve, and 5 years post-release in each count to run consecutively. He was arrested in July of 2014. In June of that year, the Ramada Inn and Fairfield Inn were both robbed. 7 North Mississippi residents accused of raiding an Indian mound on federal property face a court hearing on Monday. Boonville residents Samuel Howell, Matthew Arnold, Tyler Wildman, Chris Holly, and Melinda Chafin are named in the multi-count federal indictment. Jackie and Sandra Arnold of Iuka are also targeted in the federal case, which accuses them of taking Indian artifacts from the Dosky Mound in Tishomingo County. The mound is on Army Corps of Engineer land near the Tenn-Tom Waterway. The indictment says the 7 took the items between November and December of 2014. The family of a man missing for more than 4 days tells WCBI they are now in contact with him. In an update to the story we brought you last night, 30-year-old Corey Woods is safe. He's in Pennsylvania and has spoken by phone to family members. Woods disappeared from his Macon home Monday afternoon. His sister and cousin say Woods lives a very structured life and rarely steps outside his routine. Pennsylvania state troopers helped locate Woods' cell phone and his vehicle. Time now for a first look at our forecast. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Griffin Hardy for that. Griffin?
Well, Andrea, we've got a nice and easy end to the work week. We're at 53 degrees right now in Tupelo. The dew point is down in the low 20s. The air is quite dry outside. We're going to remain mostly clear for your Friday evening in the upper 40s by 7 p.m. We're going to cool down pretty quickly down into the upper 30s by 11. And for tomorrow, we got another nice and sunny day ahead. Highs in the low to mid 60s, mostly sunny skies. I'll look at your 7-day forecast and show you when the rain gets here next week, coming up in just a few minutes. Andrea?
All right, Griffin, thanks a lot. A group of Mississippi State students appealed to University President Dr. Mark Keenum to listen to their cause. They're members of the Coalition of Bulldog Fair Wage. They gathered outside Lee Hall today and presented Keenum's office with a collection of student handprints showing support for workers' rights. They'd like the university to only sell merchandise from companies that treat and pay their workers fairly.
Just open people's minds about where their clothes come from, because we're just starting with collegiate apparel since we are students, and so we'd love for it to just start off with sourcing more from places that treat their workers fairly and pay them a dignified wage.
The students say they would like MSU to join the Worker Rights Consortium, an organization that supports workers' rights. A recent report in the Wall Street Journal says volunteer firefighter numbers are at a more than 30-year low. WCBI's Victoria Bailey made a trip to a local fire department, volunteer fire department that is, to find out how local stations stack up against those national numbers. She joins us in the studio with that story. Victoria?
Yeah, Andrea, volunteer firefighters can be the difference between life and death for many rural areas. But the lack of manpower, volunteers tell me, is getting harder to do the job.
Meet Tristan Jones and Robert Lehue. They are students at Mississippi State until they get the call.
It really depends on what you're doing, since it is volunteer. You don't always have to go, but a lot of us try to go as often as we can. Some of us are in class, some of us are at work, and it's hard to leave.
Kurt Rosenhan is Oktibbeha Fire Coordinator, and he says the shortage may be a national issue, but is definitely hitting home.
And we need more people all the time. In fact, we have just been assessed, I guess, by the Mississippi State Fire Rating Bureau, which sets standards for fire departments and ultimately insurance rates. And that's one thing we had a little problem with, was the number of people that show up. We got a job for everybody.
The volunteers say it's a rewarding job, but it can have its rough patches too.
The physical strain, which it's never gotten to a point where I couldn't handle it, but you know, sometimes I come home pretty tired.
We have to get up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. all the time, and then have to be able to work the next day or go to class the next day.
Volunteer firefighters are on call 24/7 and face all of the same challenges of a full-time paid firefighter. But the volunteers say it's their duty to help their community.
I like to volunteer because I always think it's important to help others above yourself. That's how I was always raised. I was in the Boy Scouts and they always pushed that. So, you know, it's some people get into situations they can't help themselves out of, so people need to be there to help them as well.
I mean, we live in this community, we're helping this community. I think it's very valuable to help people, extremely important, because there's not a lot of people, like you said, there's not a lot of people who do this job, so that's why it's important, is because if we know how to do it and we can get out here and get trained to do it, that's why we need to do it.
Now, volunteer firefighter training is held the first Tuesday of every month at 6:30 at the East Oktibbeha County Volunteer Fire Station. Andrea?
All right, Victoria in the studio with that story. Coming up, we find out more about a program designed to help some children carrying a pretty heavy load. You're watching WCBI News at 6. Welcome back, everyone. A North Mississippi judge is asking groups and individuals to help shoulder the load for some area children. First District Chancery Judge T.K. Moffitt says he is saddened by the high number of children he has to place in foster care. To make matters worse, Moffitt says children are often forced to pack all of their belongings in garbage bags. He's now asking churches and other groups to collect backpacks and duffel bags for foster children. There's also a huge need for families, he says, to take in foster children.
Where I got this idea was I met a young lady, 12 years old, at the airport in Tupelo some time ago, and put her on an airplane to join her father in Omaha, Nebraska. She showed up at the airport with her possessions in a garbage bag. And we can do better than children having to drag from place to place with their possessions in a garbage bag.
If you'd like to get involved, there is information on our website, WCBI.com. Many of Mississippi's future business leaders are being recognized for putting their ideas to the test. MUW hosted the Phi Beta Lambda Leadership Conference this week. The meeting allows more than 150 students from across the state to compete in business scenarios and to hone their management skills. It also helps to build future business networking opportunities. The W has hosted the conference for the past 4 years.
Plenty of dry air over the deep south on our water vapor satellite. Will remain dry for the weekend, but more rain comes back in by next week. I'll show you when in your 7-day forecast right after the break.
Your First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist Griffin Hardy.
Great to see you this Friday evening. The sun is setting on what was a gorgeous day outside across the Golden Triangle region. We are at 55 degrees here in Columbus. The dew point is down at 29 degrees. The air is pretty dry. It's sitting in place in that high pressure center that is positioned right over top of us after that cold front sweep through. The winds were a bit of a factor earlier today. It was a bit breezy at times, maybe 15 to 20 miles per hour out of the north. It's since settled down. It'll continue to settle down through the rest of the night. Winds remaining mostly calm. Overnight lows, though, are going to be rather cold for early March, in the low 30s, close to and hovering around the freezing mark across the region. 30 in Tupelo, 30 in Columbus, 32 your overnight low in Starkville. So as far as the forecast goes, got another sunny day ahead for tomorrow, mild and mostly sunny, but more cloud cover begins to work its way in from the south on Sunday, and then rain is mainly going to be coming in on Tuesday, although we could see a few isolated showers by Monday afternoon. So here's the latest Futurecast model. The high pressure center is positioned right here over the Ohio River Valley, and even though it's that far away, we're still keeping our weather pattern nice and steady for tomorrow. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, temperatures in the mid-60s, a lot like what we saw today. And then Sunday afternoon, more cloud cover begins to work in when you have that southerly flow from the Gulf of Mexico, and then could see maybe an isolated shower or maybe a drizzle or two for Sunday evening, and then more rain chances come in mainly in our western counties for Monday afternoon and evening. And then the next main rainmaker comes along this cold front. We're looking at more scattered showers and maybe a few thunderstorms for Tuesday morning and afternoon. And recapping for tonight, though, we're going to be seeing cold temperatures and possibly some frost in isolated areas, but still not quite into spring just yet, with overnight lows hovering right around freezing. Mostly clear skies for tonight. And for tomorrow, it's going to be starting off the day cold, mostly sunny skies throughout the day, though. And because we're so dry, we're going to heat up pretty quickly to temperatures in the mid-60s by mid-afternoon. So in the 7-day forecast, again, sunshine for tomorrow, mostly cloudy for Sunday and Monday. Rain chances gradually going up as we start off the work week. Best rain chance on Tuesday with that cold front, and then sunshine returns by Wednesday and Thursday. Andrea?
All right, the battle in the capital continues in high school hoops. Oxford, Ingomar, and East Webster in action. We'll have highlights coming up next in sports.
WCDI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further. WCDI Sports coverage of Mississippi High School State Championships is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center. Advanced medicine, compassionate care.
Day 3 in Jackson, and teams from our area battling to make it to the Final Four of the MHSAA basketball playoffs. We start with early action. Ingomar girls back in Jackson, starting their repeat run in the quarterfinals, taking on Puckett. Attacking the zone early, it's Lauren Thompson. She's going to get to the hoop with the floater. Falcons led by 4 after 1. Second quarter we go, more great passing from the Lady Falcons. Look at this, looking like the San Antonio Spurs with the ball movement. Every single person touches the ball, and Lindsey Hall nails the triple, and Garabeth Self couldn't be stopped in transition. She's going to take it coast to coast. Ingomar, they go on to win in convincing fashion. They win 47-33. Over to 2A girls, we stay in 2A. East Webster taking on a tough Bay Springs team. Lady Wolverines trailed in the third, but here comes the rally. Isha Patterson with the triple, cuts into the Bay Springs lead. Later on, Jenna Pate's pass shot might be blocked, who knows, doesn't matter. Adriana Bell with the rebound, +1 basket. Lady Wolverines down by 4 heading into the fourth. Kept battling. Bell would finish with 17 and 12, but it wouldn't be enough. Tough, hard-fought game. East Webster falls 43-37 to Bay Springs. To the fellas, 5A action. Oxford and Jarkel Joyner back in Jackson, and for the third straight year, facing Wayne County. They lost the previous 2 meetings, but it'd be different this time. Great pass along the baseline from Terry Williams to Drew Bianco for 2. Later on, Joyner, he's going to be the distributor. Check out this pass from Joyner. Gets it inside to Jeremiah Peegs underneath for 2. Joyner would get going after that. He would finish with 28 points. No matter what you do, Wayne County, you were going to stop Jarkel Joyner. Check out this stop-pop jumper for Joyner here for 2. Oxford, they go on to win 58-48. They beat Wayne County, and here's our sports director, Robbie Donahoe, with a full recap in Jackson.
Thanks, Tom, and good evening inside of the Mississippi Coliseum, affectionately known As the Big House here in Jackson, we have 11 area teams that have already punched their ticket to the semifinals of the state tournament coming up next week, and could be at 12 after the day is over today. West Point playing at 7:30 against West Jones. The Lady Wave looking to advance to the 5A semifinals. Well, Ingomar looked good today, so did Oxford, finally taking down Wayne County, and East Webster very nearly took out a very good Bay Springs team. So all those great highlights. We'll talk about West Point coming up at 10 on WCBI. Tomorrow, if you're making the trip, plenty of great games. Both the Tupelo boys and girls are in action, Starkville girls, New Site girls, and the Boonville girls. So we have a chance to get to 17 area teams playing in the semifinals after the final games of the quarterfinals coming up tomorrow. But we will recap it all tonight and tomorrow for your best coverage of the Mississippi High School Basketball State Tournament here on WCBI Sports. But for now, reporting here in Jackson, I am Robbie Donahoe. Tom, let's toss it back up to you in Columbus.
Thanks for that, Robbie. And let's take a look at Mississippi State in action against LSU. So far, they're up 56-49. That's the last score check we've got here at WCBI. This has been a dogfight all day long. It was the fourth quarter, and it was a 3-point game I think State was up by. So it's been a back-and-forth battle. Mississippi State trying to survive game one in the SEC tournament, Andrea. So we'll keep an eye on that and have highlights coming up at 10.
All right. When we come back, we'll have a last look at the forecast. Stay with us.
WCBI sports coverage of MSU women's basketball is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
And a final look at your 7-day forecast. Got a really nice day ahead for tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies, highs in low 60s. Mostly cloudy on Sunday and Monday. Best rain chances with the cold front on Tuesday. Then sunshine comes back by Wednesday.
All right, quick update on the game. Mississippi State leading LSU now 58-51 with about 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter.
Awesome.
All right.
Go Bulldogs.
That is the news at 6 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. We'll be back tonight at 9 and 10.